Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 175 of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and this week we are coming to you from the intergalactic headquarters of GSM Services. Right, Rachel? Intergalactic, not international like we normally do. We simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We are highlighting another great organization this week as we highlight the Gastonia Ghost Peppers, and probably by default, Zoyer Sports. We have Chris Ballard with us today. Chris is the Director of Sales for the Charlotte region for Zoyer Sports. So it's actually a pretty big job. Zoyer's got a lot of stuff going on. So, Chris, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate it, Stephen. Looking forward to it. I'm excited to talk all things Ghost Peppers and really just highlight Gaston County as a whole. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited about this episode as well. So, and we'd like to get right to it. So if you don't mind, we'd like to start with a pretty basic question, but tell us anything about yourself, anything you'd like to share for our listeners.
Yeah, had a pretty bit of a crazy journey. Originally from Detroit, Michigan. I went to school down here in the Carolinas, went to the University of South Carolina and studied sport entertainment management. Spent about 4 months up at the University of Toledo and realized I really missed the weather primarily and decided to come back down to Charlotte and help start the new MLS franchise, Charlotte FC.
Okay.
In their ticket office. Was there for about 3.5 years and then took the trek over here to Gaston County for the Gastonia Baseball Club at the time as their senior sales manager. Have helped really create all the fun that we see at Caramount Health Park from 2024 and 2025. And super excited to watch it continue to grow, but it's been a really crazy ride, and a lot of people, for whatever reasons, saw my move as an interesting one for moving to Charlotte to the Gastonia area. And I said, okay, well, let's show them why this is the reason.
Absolutely,
we're gonna do it.
Yeah. Can't get it. We would say you couldn't get to this side of the river fast enough, right?
Absolutely.
So just curious, what brought you from Detroit to the University of South Carolina?
So I would be lying if I said it wasn't part weather. I can't stand the snow. But originally, actually, it was for baseball. I was being scouted by the University of South Carolina my freshman and sophomore years of high school. Just completely fell in love with the campus and learned about their sport and entertainment management program is second to none. So I decided, let's go ahead and hang up the cleats and continue my education where the best I can provide. I knew I wanted to work in sports my whole life, so decided to go ahead and hang up the cleats, be done with the actual playing, and then decided let's get into it as a career.
All right. Well, very good. I'm always curious as to why someone ends up down here in we like to call God's country down here in the South. You agree, Rachel?
I think also there's a point to it of just the quality of life as well. I mean, up north, it's very fast paced. You have snow from the months of November to March, which just isn't my forte. So once I had the opportunity to come down here for school, I said, I could really see myself making some roots in this area. And as I was learning about the spaces and I saw the Charlotte region, I said, okay, this is definitely somewhere where I can target. And then realizing with Gaston County specifically, it reminded me so much of my hometown. And said, okay, I've got everything that I love from my home area, plus there's no snow. That was perfect mix.
Yeah, if you see snow here, it's rare. I mean, and it seems to be more rare the last 10 years or so. I mean, when I grew up, we would have snow a couple times every winter, but it snows and it's gone the next day, right?
That's right.
So again, it's super rare. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to, I try not to make an assumption, but most of our listeners probably are familiar with the Ghost Peppers or at least have heard of them. But can you kind of maybe first just kind of tell, how did the Ghost Peppers, you mentioned originally the first season was the Gastonia Baseball Club, but how did all this take place, and how did the Ghost Peppers and Zoyer Sports, how did that end up happening here in Gastonia?
Yeah, so take you back to about December of 2023. Our owner, Andy Kaufman, saw what was happening here at the ballpark and really took it upon himself to say, hey, I want to personally make this a great place, and decided that this was going to be the place to do it. They brought me on board March of 2024, so my 1 month anniversary was actually opening day last year. And just decided, hey, that there's a real opportunity in this area that we can go in and we can make an immediate impact to help not only build a baseball team, but help grow the community as a whole. And that first step was deciding what is our identity going to be. And the way that Zoyer Sports goes about creating their identities and their team names is through the community.
Right.
We always say it, if you're not doing what you're doing for the community and the sports team is not surrounding around the ownership behind the community, then what are you doing? So for us, we always knew that the team name was going to be decided by the community. So we created this form when we announced that we are taking over the team where you could just pick whatever team name you want. And we had about, I think it was 7 different team names throughout the 2024 season, anywhere from the Gastonia Gastronauts to
I remember
the
that. I remember some of those, yeah.
We had a bunch of crazy out there names, and then at the end of the season decided, okay, let's have a little bit of a celebration towards the end of our first season and decide which did everybody like the best. So we put a vote on. The community said in heaps and bounds that Gastonia Ghost Peppers was the clear choice. So we decided from there, okay, that's who we are. And from that point, it's really just taken off, kind of like a rocket ship, where now everybody understands, hey, we have an identity. We have a mascot now, which is a lot of fun. And really just creating all of that behind what the community chose. So for everybody that voted, number one, thank you. I love the name personally.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
It was the one that I voted for selfishly. So super excited about that, and looking forward to continuing to build off the brand.
Okay. Well, listen, it's good. Listen, what I appreciate. I mean, listen, I played baseball through high school. I've been here long enough to know. We've had years and years ago. We had some minor league team here, and we went a long period of time without baseball. But our community has shown, in general, we can support that.
Yeah.
In different formats. And I will also say, just a side note, that being involved in the last 3 teams that have been here, you guys have got your act together. I mean, it really it's obvious that you and Zoyer Sports have been doing this a while and know how to get involved in the community, because I agree that's an important piece of it. So speaking to that, I mean, we talked a little bit before we started recording about, it's the interesting part about sports is the facing part is always, especially young people think it's baseball, but there's so much more to it, right? I mean, behind the scenes, the business side, which I've gotten to learn a little bit about being here at our company and having 2 daughters who that's their major, in college is related to sports and recreation. What's kind of that mission for the organization? You kind of mentioned it, but the besides the product on the field, every night, what's kind of the overall mission of the Ghost Peppers and Zoyer Sports in general? Is that a fair question?
Definitely. So for obviously on the field, we're looking to always just win games.
Sure.
And
right.
I feel like we've done a pretty good job at that over the last couple of years, but off the field is really where we create that impact. Just last week, I believe came right here from that. We were at a Habitat for Humanity house.
Right.
And building up in Bessemer City. We also tried to create events at the ballpark to bring the community out and have some fun with us as well. Just a couple weeks back for Halloween, we had a trunk or treat event and a concert after with the Rotary Club out here. We brought out about 2,500 kids for trick-or-treating purposes.
That's a lot of kids for an event like that.
It was incredible.
We had a table out there, and I know I wasn't able to be there personally, but man, the feedback we got was terrific.
Well, it was crazy because we knew it was going to grow from last year. We had 800 from last year and about 25 vendors, and this year we were about 35 vendors with 2,500. We never would have expected that much of a jump.
Right.
But that's just part of testament of what we've been doing. A lot throughout the off season, we've attended different meetings at schools. One of my favorite events that we've put on was a career fair at Southwest Middle School, and just showing the kids to say, hey, there's more to this than just the baseball. Like showing that, hey, if you want to work at a stadium to be an operations manager, if you want to get into diving into the community through ticket sales, there's a lot of opportunities to do that. And throughout the season this year, we had several different fundraising opportunities where schools would come out and do like a big theme night, and they would fundraise, whether it's $1,000 for the PTO or $5,000 for the band to make a big trip. We really try to focus our attention on not just creating our atmosphere as a great environment, but also surrounding ourselves and elevating the communities that we're in. So, having the opportunity to do that has been absolutely incredible. I know we're planning on having several more other events throughout this off season that will hopefully continue to push that narrative, and looking to really just continue to cement ourselves as somebody that's going to be here from a long-term basis to really create that atmosphere and really rise the community around us.
Yeah, before we finish, maybe one of the last things we'll talk about is let's give you an opportunity to talk about these events, especially the off season. We're recording this on, I don't know what's today, November 19th. So, baseball, it is not baseball season from a purely sports standpoint, but community is always going on, right? And when you have a facility like that, there's also so many other uses that, again, us sports guys just think, oh, it's just baseball. But there's so many. I've been to events out there. I've been to meetings out there. I've actually happened to be there at a meeting one time, and Gaston County was out there playing softball. So there's so many. I know y'all have had graduations out there. We'll make sure we touch on a little bit more of that, or maybe some of these questions will bring some of that out. So, kind of speaking of careers and speaking of opportunities in the sports world besides playing, can you kind of describe, not just for Chris, but for the organization in general, what's a day in the life?
Yeah.
Like for the Ghost Peppers?
So for one, it really depends on what you're doing. We have a very small staff, so a lot of us wear a lot of different hats.
Right.
For me personally, a lot of my day-to-day is connecting with, whether it's our season ticket holders at certain events or going out into the business community and just explaining, hey, this is our mission, this is what we're trying to do, and trying to find like-minded individuals to help us reach those goals. In terms of like your normal folk that are working over at the ballpark every day, they're trying to do exactly that same thing of just creating the atmosphere to make for a successful season, whether that's calling the schools to see how they're working on fundraising initiatives and where we can help out, or whether it's working with local nonprofits to create awareness nights throughout the season. I know we had a very successful cancer awareness weekend throughout this past season.
Right.
But really just trying to divulge to see what can we do to make the largest impact during the 63 home games that we have. And then on the flip side, we have all the different other events that we put on. Knowing that our event and booking coordinator is busy all around the clock, all calendar year, we've put on, I believe it's just south of 200 events from this past 25 years. So, wanting to create that buzz, but then deciding, okay, we know we can handle whether it's, say, a 2,500 person event and a concert. How can we elevate that for the next time and create a more seamless experience, but also more that's going to bring more folks around? At the end of the day, what we always discuss is that we want Caramount Health Park to be the place where Gaston County celebrates their wins. So creating that atmosphere behind that specifically, we're always looking around for whether it's the Belmont Abbey winning the Conference Carolinas championship and celebrating the players on the field, or whether it's talking with the different high schools that are hitting all county for their sports people, or
right, that's good,
students and such. So just finding ways where we can highlight the good things happening around the area, and then using the opportunity at our ball games or just at the park in general to celebrate.
Is in your time with Zollier Sports and the Ghost Peppers, does something stand out for you? That's kind of the specific question we like to ask. Is there success or an impact you've seen specifically that, wow, this is exactly hits the mission of Zollier Sports and community? Have you seen something that stands out in your almost 2 years, year and a half to 2 years with the organization.
Yeah. The differences between our 2024 season and our 2025 season, I would say, is really the thing that stands out the most. As we were coming in 2024, there wasn't a lot of trust in what we were doing. And we understood that going into it and said, okay, what can we do to
y'all came into I'll just say a unique situation.
Yes. And it was a crazy season. I'll always look back on 2024 and say that was my year for growth personally. Because I was put into some situations that I never thought I'd even look at. But seeing the difference and, having an increase in ticket sales of about 30%, seeing our sponsorship sales increase almost triple, seeing the support that once we showcased, hey, we're a little bit different and we want to be here for a long-term basis was something that I saw and was really mesmerized by, looking just at the main differences. I mean, you would see folks that maybe came to one game in 2024, but then they came to 5 games in 2025 and just said, like, this is where I want to take my family and enjoy a good night out. And just seeing the difference between those 2 seasons for me is that largest impact, and it just makes me so excited to see what 2026 is going to showcase as well.
All right, very good. Anything you may have just answered it, because another question is kind of a similar question, but anything you're most proud of accomplishing during the time there, or did you just describe it when the growth that's occurred between the 2 seasons?
Yeah, and I think for us, the most exciting thing was breaking some records at the ballpark of different attendance points. On opening night in 2025, we broke the record for the largest attended baseball game at the ballpark. And we weren't satisfied with that and decided to break it again in June. We created some really awesome weekends, and now the goal for us come in 2026, which is what I'm most excited for, is to how do we turn those 2 games into 5 games? And how do we turn those 5 games into every weekend? And for us, there's not really a magic button for it. It's just all about the continual gradual increases and the continuous relationship building that we've been doing within the community to really create those opportunities. And for us, that's what we want to see at the end of the day, is just how can we create the best environment possible for people to enjoy, not only the baseball, but just the overall experience. What's cool about the ballpark is that the locker rooms don't connect to the dugout. So seeing, say, on a Friday night when the game ends and say the Ghost Peppers won 5-2, like, nobody remembers the score. But what they'll remember is little Johnny coming up to the dugout area and getting his signature from his favorite Ghost Peppers player. And those are those lasting memories that we want to continue to create.
So let's go ahead and touch on, you mentioned, I think, 200 or so events, throughout the last year.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go ahead and can we go ahead and just touch on some of those, besides the obvious 60-plus baseball games that occur, right, with the Ghost Peppers. What? Let's just pick 4 or 5 or something. Anything. And I was actually there for one small event that you probably didn't even know I was there, but I'll mention that in a minute. But just kind of talk about some of the things that maybe the community is not aware of. That our typical citizen here in the community, it doesn't know what's going on out there.
Yeah. So I'll start by talking about the movie nights that we put on out at the park. I know last year we put, I believe it was 4 or 5 of them on during the off-season time frame, where you just get to come into the park and enjoy a movie on the big screen.
And it's a big screen.
Yes. We did Toy Story last year. I believe we did Polar Express. And there's one more. I think it was The Sandlot on 4th of July.
Oh, wow, Sandlot. What a great, that's a terrific movie. Are you familiar with The Sandlot, Rachel? The movie?
It's a must-watch. It is a must-watch.
Are you a baseball fan? Say yes for the purposes of this podcast. She's not on camera, but she is giving us a resounding yes.
But no, on top of the things that we're doing, that I know we have another movie night scheduled here next month, so that'll be exciting. I think we're playing The Grinch on December the 20th.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
and some other different things that we've done. I know we always hold the Gaston College graduation ceremony, and that's always the most craziest day of all time every year. Got to make sure to get to the park nice and early before all the park.
It seems like that's and that's also often during the week, isn't it? Or maybe that was a high school one that y'all have had. Because I remember it seems like, our we have two buildings in the ballpark's in between them. So I more than once I found myself driving down Franklin right before, and I'm like, oh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But it's not a problem. It's just it's great to see that many people, showing up in the morning, at the facility at the ballpark.
Definitely.
Nice to see that. I
would say a couple other ones that we're looking to really dive into is not only Ghost Peppers baseball, but focusing on collegiate baseball. I know last year we brought in Wagner College from New York and Indiana State. And Indiana State was ranked at the time. So
I don't think I knew that.
To see that happening for a series. We're looking to continue growing that and really creating more of like a preseason tournament or something along those lines, whether that's with the colleges or with the high schools locally in the area. Another one that I really enjoyed this past season was our season ticket member event leading up to the season. So if people don't know, we still utilize paper tickets quite a bit. We've realized that that's very popular in our area. So we've made an event at the park where you could come pick up your printed tickets, but on top of that, try out all the new food items we had. I know we had a new hot dog this year that was a hit. And we had different spicy options. So whether it was Ghost Peppers flavored cheese curds or our Pepe's Revenge hot sauce, having our season ticket holders the opportunity to try those before the season starts off. And then to really wrap it all up, we did batting practice on the field. Our hitting coach was gracious enough to throw some BP out that day. And it was so cool just seeing the smiles on everybody's faces being a part of an event like that. I know, as we mentioned, we're really starting to step into the concert game as well. Just in this past month in October, we held 3 separate concerts, one of which was a country concert. We had a jazz festival, and then we had our trunk or treat event with the concert after with 90s kids. And it was super cool to see a different avenue within the ballpark that wasn't just baseball. I know we do a lot of soccer practices. We're working towards bringing out a Pee Wee football tournament and really trying to utilize that space because for people that don't know, the ballpark's all turf. So we can put on.
And it's multi-use for sports, right?
Exactly,
different sports,
yes. Yep. So giving people the opportunity to see that and really open their eyes to the possibilities has been awesome to see, and really creating not only memories from the baseball perspective, but then, other youth sport opportunities. I mean, if I was a 9-year-old, I would have jumped at the opportunity to play on a professional field.
Right.
And that's something that we can provide, and really creating that long-lasting memory. I remember my number one memory as a kid was hitting a walk-off home run, and I'll literally never forget it. So if we can create opportunities like that and then give people the chance to say, hey, I remember that one time when I went to this really cool thing at the ballpark, that's what we're going for.
So I don't remember how many months ago it was. You guys hosted, I'm involved with a group called F3.
Yep.
Yeah, and we do, occasionally we do things what we call convergences where, like on a Saturday or something, all of our different locations will come together for one event, and you guys hosted one out at the ballpark, and I was there that day, working out with the group, and so it was great, and that's so yeah, that's you're touching a lot of, even a group like that, man, you're touching business people and citizens and fans, and and some of those guys that may have been the first time they've been to the ballpark, so they may not have gotten to experience that yet, and listen, and if you haven't been, I would just encourage you, to go see it if there's an event coming up, or just, it's just I don't know, it's to see that downtown Gastonia. It's just cool in my opinion. And of course, I've been there so many times. I'm afraid for us who go out there a lot, have been out there a lot, you can start taking stuff like that for granted.
Right.
You don't realize how kind of a big of a deal that is.
It's also cool seeing all of the growth around the ballpark.
Yep.
Like I know we have a brewery right next door now. The Water Bean Coffee just opened up.
Yeah, I've been to both
as well. So seeing all of the different things that are popping up around, it's creating an atmosphere not only for the ballpark but all the way around to the downtown area. It's been awesome to see all the growth.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm listening. Water Bean Coffee or Dirty Bull Brewing for a little bit of time before a game, and then going out to enjoy a game, enjoy the food. I mean, that's a really nice evening that you can have right here in Gastonia and not spend, frankly, and not have to spend an arm and a leg
That's right.
to enjoy that. So. Again, that's why I'm excited about it. And listen, also, I guess I should admit, in full disclosure, we're a sponsor, and it's been great for us. We have season tickets as a company, and I think those tickets were used 95 or 96% of the time this past year. So
We definitely appreciate that.
well, yeah. Well, you know what? What's important. We do that for our team members here, and again, it's just a really easy, relatively inexpensive thing to do. If you have businesses out there, you want to do something for your team members, this is a great thing that you can do, especially if you have baseball fans. I mean, we had waiting lists some weeks on for our team members to get those tickets. So
yeah, I always find it so funny when we're having a game and I'm working inside of our box office and somebody walks up for the first time and they're like, "Hey, we want to go sit somewhere where we can have a nice relaxing day. We want to have some air conditioning involved." And I let them know about our club level.
Yeah.
And when I tell them that the ticket price on a weekday, I believe it's $22 per ticket, and a weekend is $25, they look at me and they're like, "Are you crazy?" Because I've had people tell me that I should be charging like $50, $60 for it. I'm like, that's not what we're going for. We're not really trying to, create this atmosphere. You have to pay an arm and a leg to enjoy.
That's a great point about, we haven't even mentioned the room, the club level, and the big room up there that's air conditioned. And so, yeah, that's a great point. And, that's also where I've been to community events of all kinds in that space, from high school, booster clubs to company events to nonprofits hosting events there. So it's also a nice space, that can be utilized, and it's big enough to, I don't know how many people we can get in there. I know we've had at one time another 250 people in there, probably.
Yeah, usually I think it's 340 before the fire marshals get mad.
Right. So that brings up quick, what is a full house for, say, a baseball game? How many people?
So we consider a sellout as all of the physical seats being sold. So we have about 2,900 physical seats. But on top of that, we have enough general admission, whether it's standing room or using our picnic spaces, or the outfield itself has drink rails across all the way through. So we can fit about 4,300 people with that included. But we'll consider a sellout if all of the physical actual seats are bought or sold.
Okay. What about touch on food options and stuff out there at the ballpark real quick?
Yeah, I know I mentioned a bit about our hot dog that we created this year. It was called the Gleazy Dog. These guys are incredible partners. They're Charlotte-based, very local, and they started over at golf clubs and decided they just didn't want to have a bad quality hot dog when they're going out golfing. And now they've expanded. They have their hot dogs here at our ballpark. I believe they're in several other teams in the Atlantic League now as well. I know the Charlotte Checkers have gotten involved with them as well and having their hot dog here too. And I believe now they're also in Harris Teeter, all from just an idea that stemmed last year. So it's super cool to see their growth, but that's definitely was a hit. I believe our hot dog sales tripled this past year.
That's interesting.
Which has been awesome.
That's cool.
We also have our partnership with Choice Beverage USA. So we have all of the local Sun Drops, Cheer Wines, everything of the like that are all at the ballpark. And we purposely have kept that the same way because at the end of the day, as this whole conversation has been, it's all about just growing the local community.
Right.
So we like to keep that involved. As I mentioned, we have more spicy options for the folks that want to get in the Ghost Pepper vibe.
That's a good connection, right?
Spicy cheese curds. We do also tacos. So we do like popcorn chicken tacos, pork tacos, shrimp tacos. And what's really cool about our food and beverage staff, if we're thinking from a baseball standpoint, they do a really good job from the experience side of really creating the best ballpark food possible. But on top of that, for whether it's private events or more like outside of the scope of baseball, a lot of people don't realize we have the capabilities to do quite literally anything. So if someone came to us and said, hey, we want rolls of shrimp or sushi or like a filet mignon.
Yeah, my kids might want to hear about the sushi, but no, not me.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's we can do so many different things. I know we had an event this past year on Valentine's Day. It was called Hearts of the Diamond. We made a full, like, super fancy 3-course meal. And played When Harry Met Sally on the club level afterwards. And a lot of people didn't quite understand that we could do something like that.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting.
We had several season ticket holders that came out and they were like, man, like, I didn't know that I could get a beef medallion at a ballpark. And we're like, yeah, well, that's us.
You ever had a wedding on the field?
We have not had a wedding on the field.
Huh.
We have had multiple proposals happen at the field.
Okay.
I believe we're also working on a bachelor party to have them come out and enjoy the field as well.
Interesting. I'm just curious.
We've done a lot of crazy things, but wedding I don't believe has been one yet. We have had a few receptions over upstairs in the club level, but never a full wedding. I'd be excited for that opportunity if anybody's looking to.
All right, you baseball fans out there going to get married in the next few years. That might be something to consider.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, obviously I wouldn't have done this, but my wife and I, we met through baseball.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so I played high school baseball, and she happened to be the scorekeeper back in the day, back at Ashbrook High School, the greatest high school ever. Right, Rachel? Rachel's not really participating much today, and you need to remember. We were talking about getting you a mic, and you intentionally don't bring the mic out here, don't you? Yeah, I'm asking you all kinds of questions. So what's next for the Ghost Peppers? What's coming up? What's big? Obviously, baseball growth, but is there anything else specific going on? And also, please also maybe expand on Zollier Sports. Zollier Sports is, just because of my involvement with knowing you and a little bit of research and knowing the checkers, and I bet most of our listeners don't realize the broad expanse of Zollier Sports and where they're located. So please, feel free to mention just kind of the broader picture of Zollier Sports.
Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head when you said growth. Literally just yesterday, Zollier announced they're going to be the managing partners for a soccer team in Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Armada FC. So now I believe that brings us up to 16 teams that we're going to be having throughout, whether it's primarily the Southeast. We have teams set up in Jacksonville, Florida, Savannah, Georgia, here in Charlotte, up in Greensboro as our primary locations. But we're also prepping for a hockey team in Augusta, Georgia, hockey team in Mobile, Alabama, and we also have a team out in Tahoe, Nevada, for hockey as well. But for the Ghost Peppers, what's next is, as you had mentioned, is that continual growth, finding more ways to get involved within the community. Our general manager at the time, Brady, for anybody that knows Brady, absolutely incredible human. He just recently was promoted to team president. And a lot of that role is going to be focusing on creating, whether it's community events at the ballpark or going outwards and speaking to schools, and truly showing people that, hey, there's more to what we're doing than just the baseball. And I think that's really our biggest messaging point for the next few years, is saying, hey, on top of having this incredible experience at the ballpark, there's a lot more impact that we can have across the county, whether that's bringing Peppy out to the hospitals, or whether that's having some of the players volunteer on their off days at different locations within the county. Our big goal right now is to really ingrain ourselves in those different spaces and create opportunity for folks that maybe haven't had the chance to, whether it's go see a live baseball game, or the student that has this dream of playing professionally and decides that he wants to get involved a different way, similar to myself. Just showing that opportunity to people and really creating that full community aspect and bringing everybody together is really our biggest jump here. But we really want to go ahead and create that and really show people that, hey, we care about what we're doing in this space specifically.
One thing that we probably fail to talk about enough, because we talk a lot of nonprofit organizations, individuals who are doing things in the community, companies and businesses that we know are involved in the community besides their, whatever their primary business is. But we don't talk enough about the employment that businesses provide. So can you touch on, I know what are the opportunities in the summer, maybe for temporary jobs or young people that might, so how does that work? So obviously, I'm assuming you're adding team members through the summer, right? Specifically for the games?
Primarily so. So we have a lot of internship opportunities, whether that being in season or in the off season. The way that we typically will go about that, there's a website called Teamwork Online.
Okay.
It basically is like a job forum for sports specifically. And we'll try to connect with local college students, whether that's at Gaston College or Belmont Abbey, stretching down to University of South Carolina, to find folks that want to get involved in this for a long-term career and really give them the opportunity to see every facet of the business. Because, as I had mentioned at the very beginning, we're a very small team. So, creating the opportunities for whether it's interns or part-time staff to come in and see all of the different things, so that at the end of the season we can say, okay, based on this experience, what did you like the best? My favorite interns are the ones that come in and they have no idea what they want to do in sports. They just know they want to work in sports.
Sure.
And then at the end of the season, they know, okay, I know I want to get into social media, or I know I want to get into ticket sales. That's really the number one thing that I like to do. But we also stretch that. I know we worked alongside the Dream Center Academy this past year.
It's another great organization here locally.
Yes, they're incredible. We've had opportunities for them to job shadow us for a week. And luckily that week that we chose, there was also a game on a Wednesday afternoon. So they could see the operational piece of what it's like to put on a sporting event. We also work with all the local high schools because obviously college starts in August with our season ending in September. There's a nice stretch there where we don't have the same intern power that we have at the beginning of the season towards the end. So we work with the local high schools, primarily with the CTE programs, and we give the students an opportunity to come be a part of the games as well from a local perspective. And then throughout the off season, we have, whether it's one of the several holiday parades that we'll be having to be a part of, the different concerts that we've been putting on this past October, whether that is going out to, whether it's 5Ks, turkey trots, things of the like, to really focus on the community portion of what we do, and giving students the opportunity to participate in those as well.
Okay. So, for what it's worth, there is a turkey trot in Belmont next Thursday.
I believe we'll be there.
At Catherine's house.
Yes.
Yeah, we're a sponsor for that event too, and I'll be out there running. Rachel, you going to go run with us next Thursday morning? Before she said, if you didn't hear that, she said she'll be out of town. That's no excuse, actually. So, Chris, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about some things before we even started recording. I mean, before we finish, we'll make sure, we'll talk about upcoming events. How can our listeners learn more about season tickets? We'll just make sure we cover all that and any businesses that are interested. But is there anything that I haven't asked that I should have asked? Anything you want to make sure that you cover before we start moving to land this plane on this episode?
If we're wanting to talk about some upcoming events, I know, like I mentioned, December 20th, we have our next movie night. I believe that'll be coming out here online here soon. The best way to stay involved with the Ghost Peppers is to follow our social media channels, whether that's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We post very regularly on those. If you're looking for season ticket information, that's all on our website, ghostpeppersbaseball.com. And there's a form you can fill out, so whether it's myself or one of our other teammates can reach out to you and get you involved in that way. And then whenever there's events going on, whether that's a nonprofit putting on a gala, or I know we do a lot of work with the Sports Hall of Fame, so anybody that works with them as well. I mean, we'd love to just have a conversation and see if our values align with yours, to not only highlight different businesses or different nonprofits in the area, but create that outstanding impact within the area. We want to really dive in and create those things. We're always just a drive over to the ballpark away. Usually I'm here more often than not. So
right.
As much as we can do to create those environments and those fun times for everybody, we want to make sure to hit everybody we can.
Yeah, so you mentioned Pepe earlier, the mascot, and I've been to multiple community events where Pepe was there. We have a mascot here as well, and I know, gosh, the most recent one was the Walk to End Alzheimer's, which was October 11th, and Pepe and our Max was out there, and the interaction was great. So again, I just appreciate that, because that, those little things, it seems like a little thing, but it's actually, there were actually kids waiting to get photos with Pepe and Max that day. So,
That's so funny too.
Yeah.
That I think there's a lot to be said on the story of Pepe.
It is.
I remember back in March when we announced Pepe. It was
I remember
crazy.
that as well.
We
Yeah.
got absolutely burned. I remember one comment
But your
specifically.
reaction, how y'all responded to that was terrific, though.
Yes. I remember one specific comment where somebody said, if Sonic the Hedgehog can be redone, so can this. And it was so funny to see just the culmination of all these different things. And then we decided, hey, let's turn this on its head. And we essentially turned it into an anti-bullying campaign.
Yeah, it was good.
We were
yeah.
like, hey, he may not look the prettiest, but he's a part of the team.
Well, you know what? My experience doing business a long time, being involved in marketing a long time, so many new things, it just takes a little bit of time.
That's right.
Frankly, for some people, probably even the Ghost Peppers name. Now it just rolls off, our tongues like it's no big deal, like it's always been that way. But even, anytime there's something new, a change is made. And I specifically remember somebody's a friend of mine. I think we even got the attention of Jesse Cole during that.
Yes.
And he posted a great video about that. And, most people around here remember Jesse with the Gastonia Grizzlies, and he's gone on to just bigger and better things. But I would, if you were a fan of the Grizzlies and what they were doing at here when they were here, if you haven't gone and given the Ghost Peppers a chance yet, I would encourage you to do it, because it's not the same, but it's a very similar experience, and it's just a great positive experience out there at the ballpark, especially if you're just a baseball fan and a fan of Gaston County and wanting to support stuff going on here. But being marketing, I really appreciated how you guys handled that, man, and that was really something that turned in something that seemed the immediate reaction was negative, but then within just a few weeks, man, it really turned into something positive.
Yeah, I mean, Pepe ended up winning Mascot of the Year for the league. So it was really cool to see that full 360 turn.
Yeah.
And as you had just mentioned with the experience, we're always looking to create wacky ideas.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get to the point of having dancing ball players in the field.
Yeah.
But, if everybody has ideas of, what they want to see at a ball game, whether that's through the entertainment or something as small as, a change on the video board. We're always open to that type of feedback. And we actually prefer to see it. I know after every homestand, we'll put together like a survey and say, hey, like, what did you like? What did you didn't like? What can we improve upon? We go and reread every single one of those. So we always are trying to evolve the experience to see what people are actually looking for. I can even give you a prime example. We had a wrestling night at the first weekend of June last year, and literally in the middle of in between innings had wrestling matches going on in the different parts of the concourse just to create this new feel. And thinking we don't need to be this standard run-of-the-mill baseball team. We don't need to be as traditional as one could see. Obviously, if that's what people want to see, then we'll do that. But I know to bring in some more new fans, I know I'm having some conversations about, bringing more music to the ballpark, more art festivals to the park, to create more of just a different angle.
Right.
So not only can the true blood baseball fan enjoy our experience, but giving a chance for everybody to enjoy that space.
All right, well, Chris, I appreciate your time. We got a couple questions that we'd like to finish up with on every episode, and one of them we'll shift gears and make sure to repeat some of the stuff what you just said, but especially about how to find out more information. But one of the questions we'd like to ask of our guests before we finish up is just simply for you personally, from a personal standpoint, what is something very few people know about you?
Yeah, I think something that not many people know about myself is that I've created a lot of connections through my time in sports, and one of which was with our team president, Brady. We've actually known each other for about 8 years.
Okay.
We had met back in college. We were interns together at the Cal Ripken facility in Myrtle Beach, and just created this great friendship.
Okay.
Never would have expected that we'd be together here helping build this brand and this baseball team. But not many people know that. They always see Brady and I and that we're very close-knit and we're very similar-minded. And they're always like, it's just such a coincidence that you guys are like this. But the reality is it's no coincidence at all.
There's a little more background to it, huh?
Yes. More personally, that people don't know, I'm left-handed. And I guess that means you have more of the creative brain. I don't know where that comes from because I definitely don't have that. But, and I guess the last one.
Are you left-handed?
Oh, let's go. Not too many of us out there.
So I'm outnumbered at the podcast today?
I'd say the last one was my love for baseball started when I was so young. I played since I was about 7 years old. I got into coaching, got into umpiring. And as I had mentioned, what brought me down here was baseball and, having the different showcases at different schools and such. I wish, if I turn back the clock, maybe being a part of a collegiate baseball team, I wouldn't really turn away my experience for South Carolina for the world. But, I always think, what if I took that offer?
Did you grow up a Tigers fan?
I did, yes. Luckily, the right time to be a Tigers fan. We made the World Series a couple of times in my childhood, never got over the full hump.
Would that have been like Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker, or was that before your time?
That was before me.
Okay.
What's funny, though, my dad actually used to live down the road from a house at downtown Detroit where the players would just kind of funnel in and out of. So he has autographs from Alan Trammell, from Kirk Gibson. Which is super cool, just going back as a sports fanatic.
Yeah, so I grew up in that era of Allen when I was younger, because my guy was like Del Murphy with the Braves or Don Mattingly with the Yankees. Because I've been watching baseball as you have since I was a kid, not ultimately became my sport at least through high school.
Yeah, for me it was early stage Justin Verlander when he started his rookie season in 2006. When we made the trade in 2008 to go get Miguel Cabrera. And my prime for baseball was during his Triple Crown season, which was incredible.
Yeah, that's just something that's such a rare feat.
Right.
That's something you don't see very often.
Yeah, I didn't get the opportunity to enjoy the Lions as much at that time frame. So Tigers baseball was my spot.
Now the Lions are consistently good the last few years. So, Chris, remember this is a podcast about Gaston County, positive things happen in Gaston County. So besides the Ghost Peppers, why would you say Gaston County in general is such a great place?
Yeah, one thing that I had no idea about when I got to Gaston County was how many opportunities there are to enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's kayaking, there's Crowder's Mountain right over to the west. There's all sorts of different feels. And I think, for one, that's an absolutely incredible avenue that we need to continue to put a lot of focus on. The other piece to it was, as I had mentioned, it gives me a lot of similarities to my hometown. I'm from an area where there's probably less than 5,000 people in my city. And this is basically that at a 10 to 15 times larger scale.
Right.
So being able to say, I guess it's not considered my backyard, but it feels a lot like it. Seeing that is an awesome experience. And you're also only, 20 minutes away from a major city. I was an hour and a half from a major city. So being able to see that close-knit community that's so close to such a big metropolitan area, I think that's so unique.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's one of the unique and I think positive things about Gaston County. And if you wanted to go to the airport or go to Mecklenburg County, you can get there quickly most days. I mean, some days it's not so easy to get over there, but most days you can.
I-85 is its own beast sometimes.
It can be, that's right. So, this is his last question we like to ask every single guest. I'm gonna reword it a little bit, just probably because you're so young. But, Chris, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your younger self?
Yeah, I think really the number one thing I would say is don't give up on yourself. I have a tattoo on my shoulder. It's keep moving forward and forget about it. Those are my grandpa's 2 biggest pieces of advice for me when I was growing up as a kid. And I always took that in stride, but I also considered myself a perfectionist as I was growing up, which really hurt my confidence if I didn't do something exactly the right way. So I would tell myself, hey, things come, things go. It's just the way that life is. The best thing you can do is live in your moment in the present day that you're in, make the biggest impact possible that you can. And if it goes your way, fantastic. If it doesn't go your way, then make some adjustments and keep moving.
Yeah, I think that's a common thread, and we talk about perspective from that question. I know when I was 20, because normally I ask, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self? I had no perspective. And the things I thought were a big deal at 20 really weren't a big deal.
Exactly.
You know, they seem to be, and your perfection comment's good. I mean, I just finished reading a book called Soundtracks, which is basically about how to get over overthinking. Because I'm a recovering overthinker. Does that surprise you? Yeah, well, it's a problem, but overthinking that perfection is one of those things, right? Yeah, if you don't hit the mark exactly, especially when you're young, you think, oh, it's over, it's the end, I'm never going to get anywhere. That can't be further from the truth.
I remember when I had first started my career at Charlotte FC, it was incredible. The first game of the season, we broke the MLS record for attendance, had 75,000 people at Bank of America Stadium. And then that second game, there was kind of like that opening night hangover. We had less than 30,000 people. And to me, I was like, man, what did we do wrong? But the reality was, 30,000 people is nothing to shy of.
Yeah, not for soccer.
Right. So it was
especially for soccer, I would say. Yeah.
Putting it in perspective, there was.
And that club has grown a lot and come a long way.
Yes. It's crazy to see the different signings that they've been having.
Yeah, and the playoffs this past season was just, of course, playoffs are going on right now, but it was a good season.
Yeah, if you've never been to one of those, I highly recommend it. There's not many experiences like everybody at the beginning of the game turns their backs and then starts jumping as a community. They call it the Pepsin. And it is literally one of the coolest experiences you'll ever see.
Well, that's cool. Well, listen, Chris, this has been really good. I appreciate your time. Is there any last words before we close this episode out?
Yeah. Opening night, Ghost Peppers, April 24th. It's a Friday night. We're excited to bring baseball back into the community. If you have any interest, definitely go pop on to ghostpeppersbaseball.com, fill out the form to learn some more, and then we'll be in touch to get you guys set up with some fun activities. And if you ever are seeing some things happening around the ballpark, if you're seeing a lot of cars parked by, don't be afraid to just pull up and see what's going on. We're a very welcoming group, and we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to experience what we're providing for folks. So, come one, come all. Well,
listen, I appreciate what the Ghost Peppers are doing. I appreciate the kind of philosophy that I've seen with the Ghost Peppers and Zawiya Sports. Community is really important to our company, and it's part of our mission, part of our core values, and it's obvious that that's the same for you guys. And so for me, that's really what has attracted me to what you guys are doing. And of course, listen, sports in general can be so good when done right for a community. Definitely. And it feels like you guys are doing it right. So, I would just encourage any listeners that if you haven't been out to a game or haven't looked into what this organization is doing here locally, I would encourage you to do that. And it's a real positive for the last couple of years, and they've got a lot of momentum going. Our company, we're going to be a sponsor again this coming season and have season tickets again. So, again, I would just encourage you to look into that. So, again, Chris, thanks for your time today and for all you guys are doing for our community here. So I am going to finish with my my quote for the week and my thought for the week. This week is kind of based on community, but the phrase I like to use is "we're better together." And Desmond Tutu said, if you don't know who that is, I would encourage you to look him up as well and study his life. But he said, "My humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be human together." That might be a little deeper than I normally share, but ultimately it's about community. It's about each other. It's about how we're tied to each other. The things that I do daily are impacting other people. The things that Ghost Peppers are doing are impacting other people. The things that we're doing here, might not realize it, but that. Gosh, I like to use that analogy of the wake or in a lake when you throw a rock or something in the lake. Those as that fans out, it's impacting things around you that you may not even realize. So I just like that concept of humanity and how we're all tied together, whether we know it or not, or whether we like it or not. So to keep that in mind.
Everybody love everybody.
Absolutely. It's not that hard, but it seems to be hard sometimes for our society at times. So let's just think about that. Just be nice, for heaven's sakes. So to our listeners out there, thanks so much for taking time to listen to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast. And please don't hesitate to contact us here at our email address, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We're always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you subscribe to a podcast. Please follow us on our social media platforms. And thanks again to Chris for being our guest today. Gaston's Great.
Last but not least, stay spicy, Gastonia.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. You get it, Ghost Peppers? Stay spicy? Okay. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Rachel Cowart, who's not on the mic today, from GSM Services. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.